Hi all, hope you all are doing good. My name is Saurabh Dani, and in this particular video, which is second in this series of Task Scheduler, we'll talk about what you need to know while setting up job queues. As we discussed in the last video, to run those job queues at a scheduled time, behind the scenes system uses Task Scheduler. So let's see what options are there, what all settings you can do, and I'll be doing it in two parts because there is so much to cover. So I'm using Business Central 16, which is also called as 2020 Release Wave 1, but you can follow these steps in Dynamics Nav also. So let's talk about first what job queues in Business Central or Dynamics Nav allows you to do. So with job queues, they enable users to schedule and run specific reports or code units only. So you can schedule either a report or a code unit via job queue. You can set the job to run one time or on a recurring basis based on a schedule that you want. So let's see what that is and understand how to set it up. So before we start, let's talk about from where this idea came through. So one of our community member, Steve Enzo, is posting his learning videos as he's learning Business Central, which are quite good to watch. And in one of the videos, which is this, they were talking about job queues, and I thought it'll make sense to kind of share my knowledge on the same topic, and maybe it adds to what Steve was trying to do. So thanks Steve for that idea, and let's go back in Business Central and let's talk about it. So you can search for job queues and you'll find job queue entries, and this is the page where you'll schedule your batches. If you have restored a Cronus environment like I have, you'll see some of them are already defined here, and we'll also talk about them, what they are. But let's talk about what I have seen most commonly are being set up as job queues by most of the customer. So there is a process in Dynamics Nav or Business Central which is adjust cost item entries, and this is one of the things that I see with most of the customer sets it up in their job queues in Dynamics Nav. This is a process that analyzes the item ledger entries which are created when you do transaction against items, and this process ensures that all the costs are accurately applied to sales, and thereby ensuring that the inventory valuation and COGS, which is cost of goods sold, entries are posted within the NAV or Business Central as correctly. So it's not mandatory to run it from job queue. So the way it's set up is on inventory setup. You'll see that there is a automatic cost adjustment which is set to never, and automatic cost posting is also set to disabled right now. So by default these settings are set to disabled and this setting is set to never, because it takes a lot of time if you set them up to be run during posting, or if you set it to a day or to a specific option. So what customer tend to do is they set this process in the job queue and then run it during the weekend when no users are there, and this makes sense to the customers who have lot of sale going on or purchase going on during the week. So let's understand what will happen when we run that job. So if you go to your items, there's a boolean in that which is says costed adjusted. So you'll see in some item that is not set. That means there are some transaction done for which the cost adjust cost job has not been run yet. So once you schedule it in job queue and during the weekend when it completes, these booleans will set to true, which means there will be adjustment happening to the item ledger entries which were posted. So let's set it up right now. So search for job queue entries and let's create a new one. So as I said earlier, you can only use or set either a report or a code unit, and in this case it's a report that you are going to set, and the ID of the report is 795, which is adjust cost item entries. So system pulls up the object that's selected here, its caption, and that by default becomes description. If you have to change it, the description, you can change it. We'll talk about parameters maybe in tomorrow's video. There is a job queue category code where there will be some predefined. You can add new categories. It doesn't make any difference in execution of the process. It just helps user to kind of club multiple job queue entries with a category code. Then the user who is trying to create, his user ID will be appear here, or the user who is trying to modify this job, his name will appear here. Then the next thing is max number of attempt. It is how many times you want system to try to rerun this job if this job fails. So if there is a failure, then how many times you want to retry, and then after how many seconds you want to retry. So I'm saying 0 at this point, but you can set it up as you want. We'll come to these fields, this field later. The last ready state is based on whenever you are trying to modify it. Expiration date is the day when this job queue will not run after that date, if you have some settings. As you selected report here, you will see another tab will pop up, which is report parameter. And the way it works is, as it's a report, there will be a request page. So as soon as you will try to enable this request page option boolean, you'll see the report that you have selected, its request page will pop up, and if you want, you can assign filters on it, and those will get saved and will be respected when the job queue runs. But I'm running it for all items, so I'm not going to use it. Click OK. This report is a processing only report, and the way processing only report is different from a non-processing only report is, non-processing report have a layout which you can see once the report execution is complete, whereas processing only report does some task and they don't give you a output that you can see. So we'll see other options maybe in a while. And then the last tab is recurrence, when and how many times you want to run this job. So as I said earlier, normally customer will set it to run on Saturday or Sundays based on how they work, but just for the demo I'm setting it for every day. Now next is next run date formula. Next run date formula is a field which you can set to calculate the next run date when you want this job to run again. So you can set 1D, which is 1 day, 1 week, and things like that. And then there are two fields of starting and ending time. At what time of the day you want to start this job, and at what time you want to end this job. I want to let it run anytime, but then there is a parameter which says number of minutes between run. How much time you want between two runs of the same job. So I'm saying after every, let me do the maths, after every day, which is 60 hours or 60 minutes for 12 hours, sorry, 60 minutes for 24 hours. After every day I want to run this job, so I'll set it to 1440. With this value as 1440, after the execution of this job, it will set the next runtime to be after 1 day. So let's see how that works. I'll go back to journal tab and I'll set the earliest start time, as mean the first time when I want to set it. So I'll copy this here, this value, and I'll change it to, it's 19 right now, so I'll change it to 1:10 a.m. Once it is done, you need to make sure that you set status to ready. Until unless that job is not set to ready, this will not run. So now it is set to ready. As soon as the clock in my system will change to 1:10, this will start processing. So let's see that 7:95, we still have time, and this date will change to 7/17/2020 after the execution is complete. So let me refresh this view, and it's completed and is changed for tomorrow now. Now because there was very less entry to be adjusted, it completed very quickly, and you can always check the log entries to see was there a success or a failure, or did it ever run. So click on it and it'll show you that the status was success, this object was run, and it was run, started at 1:10, and the duration for this job was 3 seconds and 600 milliseconds. As soon as the execution was completed, and let me go back to view, system changed this time based on the settings that I have done in the recurrence tab. So because it was set to 1440, it just added a day and the time remains same. So now tomorrow it will run at the same time. So as we have seen earlier, let's go back into items and see our boolean. So if you see now, all the items have this cost is adjusted boolean set to true. So that's one of the job that I have seen most of the customer using it and setting it up via job queue. Now let's talk about what else you can do with job queues, which is which will help to increase your performance. So before we go there, I want to bring your attention to a fact box that is available on your Role Center page, or maybe not the fact box, the part on your Role Center page, which is called as report inbox. Maybe you never noticed it, but this is something which will help you in case of if you have a report which is long running. So as we have seen that fact box is empty, you can always come here anywhere in the system and pick a report that you want to run. Let's say in this case I want to run customer top 10 list. Now let's assume that this report takes 3 hours to run and you want it let it run, and then you want to be notified kind of when it gets completed. So on the request page you can define your filter if you want. Okay, and then once you are done, whatever filters you want to set, instead of using preview or print, you can choose send to. When you do a send to, there are default options like PDF, Word and Excel, and then there is an option to schedule it. When you choose the schedule option and click OK, you get a window which is kind of based on the job queue entry table behind the scenes, and it lets you choose the report output type, which was one of the tab, if you remember, in the job queue entry page, which had the same options. So it lets you choose which type of output you want, and because I want to run it one time, I'll not change anything and I'll click OK. So the report has been scheduled and it will appear in the report inbox part when it is completed. So now user can do whatever he is supposed to do. He don't have to wait for report to complete, and as soon as it will complete, which got completed very quickly, he will see the report in the report inbox in the format that he selected. He can click on it, the report will get downloaded, and he can open and see the output of that report. Now the other use of the same feature is again, you have a long running report and you want to see that every day on your report inbox. In that case, what you can do is, let's say, go to customer statement, which may have more options. So let's choose another report, customer item stats, new page per Excel, new page per account. I don't want any filter, so what I'll do is I'll click on send to and I'll try to schedule it. Now I want this report to be seen every day as soon as I start my day on my report inbox, so that I don't have to come every day in the morning and then run this report and wait for it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the earliest start date as today, and if I have that value pasted, let me see, yes, and I'll say it will run at 1:15 a.m. when everybody is gone, or 1:16 a.m. and then its next run date formula is 1D. So after 1 day it will run at the same time every day. The only difference now is that my job queue entry will exist. In the last time it got created, got completed, and got deleted, and this time if you see it's in process, it's actually getting stored in this table after the entry is being completed, or after that report execution is completed. So if you see, this job queue entry was created from a report that we used. So let's open and see this. You will see the report that you selected, its name, user ID, and as I said, it will set it up in the report parameter. The output would be set as PDF. The next run date is 1D, which means 1 day, and that's how it gets recalculated. So if you go to see the log, it will show that it ran one time, which was a success, and it ran just few minutes ago. Now it should be available on my report inbox, so let's go and check that. So here it is, customer item statistics. So in that way I can again follow the same matrix way. I can click on it and download it, and then I can see the output. So using the job queue, it actually let you schedule a report one time or multiple time as you wanted, and you can clear them as I did right now. Now the other cool feature that I think which is with the job queue is you can do background postings on sales and purchases. So to set it up, you can go to sales and receivable setup, because you have so many orders that come in and you don't want people to wait while they are getting posted, because maybe orders are big. So you can always come to sales and receivable setup and choose this option under background posting, which is post with job queue, or you can choose post and print with job queue. Now if you choose post and print, then the report output type will be selected, and that will get stored in your report inbox, which we saw. but I'll choose post with job queue. The job queue category is set to sales post, which I'll keep as it is, and then I want a notification on success. So first let's create a sales order so that we can test it, and then we'll set up the job queue. Okay, let's keep that blank and we'll get the number from system. Done that. Let's go and fill of type item, let's say 1000, my bicycle, location blank, quantity 2, and non-taxable, and quantity to ship is 2, and quantity to invoice is 2. So let's see. You can always check how many invoices are there, or maybe I'll do a partial invoice. I'll only ship and invoice one quantity out of 2 quantity which is available there, so that we can come back and see what happened after the job queue posted. So if you see, quantity shipped is blank and quantity invoice is blank, and there are no invoices against the sales order right now. So users will create sales order and then they'll choose posting and do post. Oh, so there is an approval. Let me see where it is, and maybe I'll disable that workflow for this one. And we have talked about workflows earlier, so if you haven't seen that, go ahead and watch it. I'll just disable it and I'll go and try to post it now. As I do that and click OK, it says that it has been scheduled for posting. So it's still there, and let's see on the job queue what happened. Nothing. So we need to set up a job queue so that it starts, or it's already there. Let me see. Service adjust cost, auto created. Let me see what happened with the job queue categories. Is that something which is by default set? Sales post, and this is just a simple list, so you can't even go in. There is no menu ahead of it. So behind the scene, a job queue should have been created for posting this, but that's a one-time job queue, so you might not see it here. So the way you can see it is you can go to job queue log entries to see all the logs that has been created by any job queue. So there are 2 ways that you are going to log for a specific job queue entry, but one-time job queues get deleted automatically if they are not set for a recurrence. So you can always come to job queue log entries, and you will see the first one there is a success for post sales order 1001, which created a job queue, one-time job queue for code unit 88, and did post that sales order. So that got posted. So now let's go back to that sales order and see what actually happened. Oh, sorry, not this. Okay, so this was our order. If I see now, my quantity shipped field would have been set to 1. Quantity invoice is also set to 1. And if I navigate and see the invoice that got posted behind the scene for $4,000. Now I'll do the rest of the shipment and invoice, and I'll say posting post. It's scheduled for posting, and then this order is completely deleted now because there are no more lines left to post. So click OK, and this should get closed. Okay, and now let's go to posted sales invoice to see what got posted. So to put it simply, or filter this record simply, I'll say where the order number is 1001. So now as you can see, there are two invoices which got created from the job queue. Alternatively, if you don't want to kind of start posting immediately in front of user, you can always set a job queue entry for code unit 88, as we saw in the job queue log, that the posting is happening from code unit 88. So you can make a job which is recurring and happening at the night and running at the night. So users only need to click on post, and during the scheduled time, all the sales order will get posted from the job queue. The same options are also available on the purchase side. You can do that and they will get posted. The other things that I find cool, or I have seen customers using it, are batch posting of your invoices or documents that you want. So let's have a quick look on those batch posting options. So let's go to sales orders, and just for the demo I'll use any order for customer number 1000, and then I'll go to my job queue entries and create a new job queue, this time for I should search it, batch post sales orders. So I'm trying to post sales orders in a batch whenever they met a certain condition. So what I'll do then is I've selected the batch, and as it's a report, it should have a request page. So now I can set different parameters, that I only want to ship my sales order, or I want to invoice them, or both. It's either or both. So I'm just using ship. Use the posting date, or let the posting date be whatever on the sales order. If you want to change it, you can do that. And then other than these options, I'll filter out sales order with different condition, that who are released, or who are with the sell to customer number, let's say 10,000. Yeah. So what this job queue right now, what we are doing is we are saying ship, only ship, not invoice, all the sales order which are status released and sell to customer number 10,000. So let's quickly see how many orders we have with meeting that criteria. So if I go to my sales orders and sort it by customer number, I'll see that there are one, and then 2, 3 and 4 orders for customer number 1000, but only 2 of them are released. So let's do a ship an invoice, so that that order get deleted if it is set, and anything which is released for customer number 10,000, and save that. Now I don't want it to run one time, so I'll say that I want to recur it every day that it runs when users have created them after 1440, which is my 1 day setting. And then here I'll set at the end my starting time, which is right now. So I'll say run it at 1:30 a.m. change the status to ready, and now this batch job will run as at 1:30. What it should be doing based on the filters that we have applied is the first one, which is 10106 and 104 011 should actually get posted if there are no issues in those, because they are meeting the criteria that we have set on the request page. So let's see, already 1:30. Let's see on logs what happened, and it's completed. So that means it's time to refresh this window, and let's again sort it by sell to customer number. And if you notice that we are only seeing 3, one has been posted by the job queue. And only one got posted by the job queue. The last one had an error. So the first one actually got posted and last one had a problem. So there is an error that you can read, but this is a success, as in it completed whatever it is supposed to be doing. So let's quickly go and click on it and see what error was that. There was nothing to post because everything was already shipped and invoiced. Hope so. Quantity 10 and the quantity to ship was blank, so that's why it didn't run. It was not able to post because there was nothing defined on quantity to ship or invoice. So you can use these job queue features to even do the batch post, as I did. Anytime you have to make a change on the job queue, you either click on set on hold, or you can choose it from here to set on hold. A job queue can only be modified when it is set on hold, and a job queue will only run if it is set status to ready after you have done your changes. And show error, if there is an error it will show you. So that's more or less for today. I hope you get something out of today's video. Let me know your views in the comment section. If you wanted a specific area to be covered on job queue which I didn't, I hope I'll cover it in next video, which is around what other possibilities you have with custom objects by putting them in the job queue. Please share your views and suggestions. As I said earlier, please do share this video and subscribe this channel if you haven't, and have a great day. See you next time.